guys, my name's Daryl and welcome to this edition of Project TJ. Now in this episode we're looking at how my Bf Goodrich KM3s have stood up to approximately 25,000 kilometres of use. It's my daily driven Jeep. I've also used them in sand, mud and rocks. I've done some long touring trips on them and I've done some short four-wheel drivey weekend sort of things on them, so I think I've got it fairly well sorted. Just to make this certain before we go any further, I did purchase these tyres by myself for the best possible price I could get by shopping them between dealers. So it is what it is. I'll also put it out there that I have bought these numerous times before and I have had all the versions of the mud terrain. I like it, it's a good tyre for me in my use and tends to do everything I want reasonably well. I've had all-terrain tyres before. I'm not a fan of them for my use because there's always that one time at band camp when you think, I wish I would have had the mud terrain. And with the mud terrains, I never really think, oh, I wish I would have bought the all-terrains. And the downsides, and we'll talk about that later, I'm more than happy to put up with. Now noise. The thing that really spurred me on to make this video was I was watching another YouTube review of these tyres, long-term review, and the comment was made that these are a really quiet tyre and comparable to an all-terrain. And it's like, no. I don't know what planet you're on, but at the moment we're doing 100 kilometres an hour, so that's about 60 miles an hour. Does this sound like all-terrains? No, I don't know what sort of all-terrains you were using, but to that person, it is utter bullshit. That said, the hum these things put out, in my experience, is roughly the same sort of hum that you'll get from any type of dual-purpose aggressive tread tyre. The tyres that will sound worse than this are the full-on off-roady type tyres where vehicle use on the road isn't a concern. The tyres that will sound not as noisy will be a more road-based tread pattern, but if you have an aggressive tread pattern, it will make noise. It doesn't matter what tyre you have. So this hum is typical of all mud terrain tyres, and it is the downside of having this sort of tyre. I'm happy to live with it. That said, when they were new, exceptionally quiet, and it was like when we got to about 15,000 kilometres, someone flicked the switch and said, now we're going to be noisy. So something to keep in mind. So how have they worn? When new they had about 14.25 millimetres of tread depth. Now after 25,000 Ks I've got 8 millimetres on the back and 10 on the front. I've rotated them at 12,500 Ks. Like most mud tyres, they do get a little bit of sawtoothing if you don't rotate them. So rotate often. Every time you do an oil change, or every second time you do an oil change, it's not a bad thing. So I don't think the wear is all that bad, and I'm more than happy with that. So what's the ride like on the road? I'm running a 285/70 sheen, which is just under 33 inches in diameter. Unfortunately, the current crop of tyres in this type of sizing is an E-rated size. So they probably ride a little bit harder than what a C or a D would. I know I could go down to a 15-inch rim and get a C or a D rated tyre, but I'd rather stay with 17 on a daily driven vehicle that I'm going to use for touring too. It's just a personal preference. I'd rather a bit better handling on the road than try to get ride and off-road capability over everything else. The Jeep's also a short wheelbase vehicle, so you can't expect it to ride as good as a new JT Gladiator or something. that are limo-like in proportions. But all of that said, I'm very happy with the ride of it. I can't fault it, to be honest. So yeah, ride's fine. So how do they perform off-road? I'm more than happy. They do exactly what they say they will on the box. At the end of the day, they're still a dual-purpose tyre, and there will always be a better tyre out there. However, those better tyres for off-road will be less good on-road, and they'll either handle like a bucket of bolts, they'll wear really quickly, or they'll be so noisy you've got to have comms between driver and passenger. So a dual-purpose tyre, as I said before, I choose these over an all-terrain because they do give you that little bit extra off-road. It's a little bit more noise on-road, but hey, I'm more than happy to live with that. So what don't I like about them? I suppose the only thing I don't like about them is that Bf Goodrich have bulked up the carcass to suit the heavier vehicles that are now coming out of the showroom, and maybe the overlanding set, I don't know. But it also means that you're going to have to run a lower tyre pressure to get these things to work well off-road and bag on the lighter vehicles. On the heavier vehicles you won't have a problem, but on the lighter vehicles like my 2J, you're going to have to run a lower SI, which means you run the gauntlet of popping beads off rims and stuff like that. That said, for the bulk of the four-wheel driving I'm doing, anywhere between 12 and 15 they seem to work quite well, whether it's beach rocks or whatever. So they're the downsides. Oh, and the noise, as you can hear. If you can live with those, I can't fault them. So would I buy these tyres again? Yes, unless there's something else that takes my fancy. There's some Nitto tyres that look half decent. My only issue, and why I keep coming back to these, is that the sizes are reasonable. You know, there's the argument, oh, they're not a true 33. I really don't care if they're 0.2 under. They do what they say they do. They last a reasonable length of time. As I keep saying, they just do what they say they will on the box. I've tried the cheaper tyres before, always been disappointed. More than likely I'll stay with these. Will I stay with the same size? I don't know yet. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and got something out of it. That's my personal opinion on these tyres after 25,000 kilometres. See you next time. Bye now.